What up, kinfolk? This is your boy, the Do-Rag Gamer in the house, aka Screwface Capone. And I know you're sitting there, you're looking at your YouTube right now, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I know he didn't come out with another video this soon after the last one, did he? Well, here I am. I told you, I'm stepping it up this year, because this is Do-Rag Gaming. Anyway, last year, there were tons of great games that came out. You got Borderlands 3, Super Mario Maker 2, Code Vein, Devil May Cry 5, Resident Evil 2 Remake. What else was there? There was Far Cry New Dawn. There was Death Stranding. Just so many games that came out. The floodgates were on last year, and this year is going to be no different. So what I did is I went through everything that was going to come out this year. Even if it didn't have a release date, some of this stuff got delayed. And I picked 20 games. Well, actually it's 19 games plus a console that I have my eye on. So this isn't a top 20 list, because this is really in no particular order. These are just 20 things that I'm looking forward to this year. So sit back, watch the video, and tell me what you think. Let's get the big one out of the way. If you played The Witcher 3, then you already know CD Projekt Red is one of the premier developers when it comes to Western RPGs. They hit you with deep, complex storylines, massive amounts of world and character building, and intricate open environments. I'm excited to see this tradition continue with Cyberpunk 2077, the gaming adaptation of the tabletop RPG game. The game has players step into the role of V, a mercenary whose appearance, gender, background, and skill set they can customize. Taking place in Night City, your goal is to find a mysterious cybernetic implant that is said to grant immortality. Players will have complete freedom to customize their abilities and approach the game's missions in any way they wish. That's not even mentioning that Keanu Reeves is in the game playing as Johnny Silverhand. Sadly, it's been delayed until September, and this fall can't get here soon enough. Now, along with the news about the delay, we heard some troubling comments that the developer may be implementing crunch periods. While I'm as eager to play the game as everyone else, I would hope that the developer will take into the account the mental and emotional well-being of their employees. Doing right by your workers is just as important, if not more important, than putting out quality products. We've heard horror stories about Anthem and Fortnite developers suffering stress casualties, and few people want this to be the case with Cyberpunk. Hopefully CD Projekt Red will do the right thing in the end, and the finished product will be well worth the wait. Over 2 years after it was first announced, Square Enix finally lifted the veil on this game at last year's E3. Developed by Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix's Avengers will see the team rebound after a mission gone wrong supposedly claims the life of Captain America and causes the team to disband. The game will feature several playable heroes, each with their own gameplay style. It also looks like new content will be on the way throughout the game's lifespan. Although I'm a bit concerned about the monetization and live service elements, if they can rein them in, and more importantly, if they can nail the gameplay right, then we got Marvel's next big gaming hit on our hands. I just hope that Square Enix features my personal favorite hero, NFL Super Pro, as a playable character. Come on, it's possible, ain't it? Alright, next up. Watch Dogs Legion is perhaps the first time I've been excited about a Ubisoft game in a long while. Watch Dogs Legion will take place on the streets of London and will allow players to take control of any character they see. I can't wait to see how this works, as this gains players access to all kinds of different characters and different gameplay styles. The game has been delayed, and it's possible that this could launch just in time for the next console generation. The first two games had a lot of promise, even if they didn't hit that high mark. Watch Dogs Legion is definitely ambitious, but if Ubisoft can pull it off, then the third time will be the charm for the series. And after last year's disastrous Ghost Recon Blackout, they could use a hit too. Twenty 2016's Doom reboot took gamers by surprise with how good it was, and Doom Eternal looks to add on more of what made that game great. That means more classic FPS action, more bleak environments, more hellish looking enemies, and more weapons to shoot them with. It's been delayed from last November, but no doubt the game has benefited from the extra polish that it's been receiving since then. At this point, Bethesda needs a hit on its hands, as it lost a lot of goodwill over the past year from the Fallout 76 fiasco. However, ID Software is one of the few brands under the Bethesda name that can produce quality material, so Doom Eternal is definitely something I'm looking forward to. This one's kinda low key, but I had my eye on it ever since it was announced, and the more I see of it, the more I like it. Retromania Wrestling started out as an homage to the classic Technos arcade game WWF WrestleFest. However, the developers got permission from the rights holders, and now it's the official sequel to WrestleFest. While it obviously doesn't have a WWF or rather a WWE license, it has a decent roster with classic grapplers such as Austin Idol and the Road Warriors, and indie wrestlers like Zack Sabre Jr. and Colt Cabana. They even struck a deal to feature NWA Power Champion Nick Aldis in the game. The game will feature several unlockable arenas, several match types, a story mode, and if the game does well, post-launch content. While it may not be the alternative to WWE 2K everyone is waiting for, without a doubt this will be an excellent throwback to the times when wrestling games were simple and fun. Ghost of Tsushima is an upcoming samurai action game from Sly Cooper developers Sucker Punch. Playing as Jin Sakai, you fight to defend Japan from the Mongol Empire as they invade Tsushima Island. Unlike games such as Sekiro and Onimusha, Ghost of Tsushima gets rid of any supernatural elements in favor of realism and historical accuracy. Still, this game will be no less intense if you like samurai. Along with The Last of Us 2, this could be one of the last big hits for the PlayStation brand this console generation as we transition to the era of PlayStation 5. Developed by Media Molecule, who you know from Little Big Planet, Dreams will allow players to create anything their hearts desire. You can create art, music, and games, and share it all online with others. This is definitely an ambitious project for the developer, although many players at a beta have been creating an untold amount of material. I can't wait to get my hands on it myself. You can pre-order for early access. If it's anything like Little Big Planet, I can't wait to jump in and see what I can do with it. The original Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines which came out back in 2004, was a cult classic among RPG enthusiasts. When a sequel was announced this past year, fans were no doubt salivating at once again having their chance to step into the masquerade as a creature of the night. Playing as a human that was recently turned into a vampire, you join one of 5 vampire clans as you make your way through modern-day Seattle. The game will feature upgradable abilities, 5 factions to either ally with or work against, and a storyline written by Brian Mitsoda, the writer behind the original Bloodlines. Just like its predecessor, Bloodlines 2 looks to have everything fans could want from a video game adaptation of the classic White Wolf RPG, and is creepy enough for fans of the vampire genre to sink their teeth into, no pun intended. It's hard to believe that the original Resident Evil 3 came out over 20 years ago. The original Resident Evil 3 was released when the series was knee-deep in horror before it began to transition to a more sci-fi influenced direction. Like the original version of the game, you take control of Jill Valentine as you attempt to escape a zombie-filled Raccoon City while being hunted by the Nemesis. The scariest part of the original game was the Nemesis hunting you through the game's environments, and it's going to be no different here, especially combined with the Mr. X AI from the Resident Evil 2 remake. Included with the game is Resident Evil Resistance, a 1 vs 4 adversarial multiplayer game where one player plays as a mastermind who can control monsters and set traps, while the other 4 players try to escape. Now, Resident Evil's prior attempts at online multiplayer haven't been anything to write home about, but if done right, this could be Capcom's attempt at a Dead by Daylight style game. Capcom has been knocking it out the park these past few years, and here's hoping Resident Evil 3 will be the start of another great year from the company. The new generation of Xbox is coming this holiday season, and an all-new Halo is coming with it. The game will be a follow-up to the events of Halo 5 Guardians, and Master Chief is stepping back into the lead role. Not much else has been revealed about the storyline or multiplayer, but there is no doubt that both elements of Halo Infinite will draw fans back to the franchise and make it a must-have, whether you're playing it on Xbox One or Xbox Series X. Like all first-party Microsoft games, it will be on Game Pass from day one. If there's a better way to promote the service and kick off the next generation of Xbox, I can't think of it. Mount & Blade 2, entering Steam Early Access this March, will take players back to a world of Call Radia. However, the game will take place 200 years before the original Mount & Blade. Like its predecessor, Mount & Blade 2 will be a huge medieval sandbox. You can explore the land, create an army, join one of the game's many factions, wage war, or even become an economic power as you invest in business and trade. It should be noted that even though this takes place in a fictional world, the focus is on realism, so there is no sorcery, magic, or dragons. Still, Mount & Blade 2 promises to be as every bit as compelling as a Warcraft or a Witcher game. Mount & Blade Warband was one of my favorite PC games, and Bannerlords looks to improve on the game at every level, from the graphics to the gameplay to the AI. I can't wait until I can return to the world of Call Radia and once again make my mark on its history. Bleeding Edge is an Xbox and PC exclusive from Hellblade and DMC developer Ninja Theory. In this multiplayer melee combat game, players will take control of one of several bizarre fighters, each with their own abilities, and compete in a series of game modes. This is obviously inspired by games like Overwatch, although its gameplay and character designs are different enough to set it apart from the rest of the pack. I played the alpha a few times, and the fighting was fun and fast-paced. Of course, there is a concern about live service elements and microtransactions with these kinds of games, but hopefully they will not be too overwhelming, and Ninja Theory will keep it updated with new content throughout its lifespan. This is a first-party Microsoft game, so if you got Game Pass Ultimate, then you can get it for free on launch day this March. As you guessed from the title, Iron Man VR is a PlayStation VR game that will put players in the role of Tony Stark himself. The game features an all-new storyline where the Golden Avenger battles the villain Ghost. Players can take control of his armor and have access to several upgradable weapons as you fly through the air, blasting enemies with his trademark repulsor rays. As we see from 2018's Spider-Man and the Batman Arkham series, the best comic book games place players in the role of the hero and let them do everything they can do in the comics. Iron Man VR is looking to pull this off by using virtual reality. If they can get the gameplay right, this will allow players to get up close and personal like never before and really make them feel like the Playboy billionaire Avenger. This game is a surprise when it was announced at E3 this past year, but still, fans of the flight simulator genre, along with gamers looking for something different, will want to check this out. Flight Simulator 2020 will be the first new release in the series since 2006's Flight Simulator X. Don't expect Crimson Skies style action, as this is a simulator, the focus will be on realism. Not much else was revealed about the game, save that it will utilize Microsoft's Azure Cloud Platform technology along with satellite imaging tech in some way. The game will also support community-created content in some manner. In addition, with the game coming to Xbox One and Series X, it will be the first time that the series will be coming to consoles. If previous iterations of the game were anything to go by, then you'll be able to fly a wide variety of aircraft and be able to fly to anywhere on Earth. This isn't going to be for everyone, but with it coming to Game Pass, you'll want to check it out if you have. The first game in the series since 1994's Streets of Rage 3, Streets of Rage 4, finally sees the return of the classic brawler franchise. Taking control of Axel, Blaze, Adam, and new character Cherry, you once again take to the streets in a storyline that takes place a decade after Streets of Rage 3. The game is developed by Lizard Cube, who produced Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, and will feature music by series composer Yuzo Koshiro. Finally, as you can see, the game boasts an impressive cartoon-like art style. With this, along with the Battletoads remake dropping this year, it's a good time for people who like brawlers. Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost On, and that's one hell of a name by the way, is a PlayStation exclusive home port of the 2016 Japan-only arcade game, which is coming to the United States for the very first time. The game is a 2-on-2 fighting game, which looks to bring the high-intensity battles of the anime to the PlayStation 4. The game will boast a roster of 183 mobile suits from 36 different Gundam series. This includes the classic Universal Century, to Mobile Fighter G Gundam, to Gundam Wing, to some of the more obscure entries like Turn A Gundam After-War Gundam X, along with some of the more recent entries like Build Fighters and Iron-Blooded Orphans. I'm really excited about this, as Gundam is one of my favorite anime franchises, and the sheer amount of mobile suits is going to be a major selling point for me. If you've been put off by recent entries in the Final Fantasy series, or you just like Japanese RPGs in general, then you'll want to check out the Bravely Default series, which had its start on the Nintendo 3DS. The games were pretty much classic Final Fantasy in everything but name. They had the familiar job system, which helped players customize each character's playstyle, artwork from longtime Square art director Akihiko Yoshida, and the epic storytelling the series is known for. No doubt all these features will return in the franchise's third entry, which will be a Switch exclusive. Now you'll notice I called this the third game in this series, despite the fact that it's called Bravely Default 2. You see, Second Layer, the second game in the series, was a side story to the original rather than a sequel. Regardless, if you like that old school style Japanese RPG, you'll definitely want to check this one out. Speaking of Japanese RPGs, the Persona series is a fan favorite among gamers, and Persona 5 is no exception. This PlayStation 4 exclusive is a Director's Cut edition of the original Persona 5 with new story elements, new playable characters, and a new third semester to play through. The Persona series sets itself apart from other RPGs in several different ways, the biggest of which is rather than being set in a fantasy world, it's set in modern day Japan, and you take the role of a high school student with supernatural powers. Most players likely only know about this game because its hero, Joker, was added to the Smash Ultimate roster this past year. If, like me, you missed out on the game the first time, then you'll definitely want to check it out this time. Before Fallout, there was Wasteland, an RPG set in the post-apocalyptic United States. The 1988 DOS game laid down the foundation for what would eventually become Fallout. In 2014, developer inXile released Wasteland 2, the crowd-funded sequel. This year, the developer, recently having been acquired by Microsoft, is releasing Wasteland 3. Taking place in the snow-covered regions post-apocalyptic Colorado, players will take control of a squad of rangers as they prevent the nation from further falling apart. The game will feature both single-player and co-op multiplayer for the story's campaign. Even though inXile is owned by Microsoft Studios, the game will be releasing on both Steam and PlayStation 4 along with Xbox One, as inXile is still honoring its Kickstarter commitments. If you were burnt by Fallout 76, still want your post-apocalyptic fix, you will definitely want to check this out even though it's a different kind of game. With both Obsidian and inXile under Microsoft's ownership, it could make Xbox and Xbox Game Pass the place to be for top-notch PC-style RPG. This final entry isn't a game per se, it's a system. I'm usually leery about these startup consoles, but this grabbed my attention for a few reasons. First, my first game system growing up was my dad's Intellivision. Before getting a Nintendo, I would spend nights and weekends playing the tons of games that he had. So seeing the Intellivision name attached to this project carries some sentimental value for me. Secondly, the new console's development is spearheaded by legendary video game music composer Tommy Tallarico, who is also serving as the president of Intellivision Entertainment. Finally, I was intrigued by what it was offering, so when I first heard about this, I figured I would give it a shot. The console's aim is to bring fun back into gaming, emphasizing family-friendly gaming with couch co-op. The unit comes with 2 controllers, and players can use their smartphones as additional controllers. Games will cost between $3 and $10, and all titles will be exclusive to the console and will be rated E for everyone, with no mature content allowed. There will also be no overpriced DLC, microtransactions, or loot boxes. The unit itself is expected to have a price tag of $200 with a launch date of October 10th of this year. With all the noise about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, this could get lost in the shuffle. However, it looks like to be a throwback to gaming's past when everything was simple but fun. If you want to enjoy some old school family-friendly fun, then this could be the best new system of all. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. That's 19 games, as well as a console system that I have my eye on this year. Now, this is just my list. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of games I left out, and there's a lot of games that you're looking forward to. So let me know what games that you're looking forward to in the comments. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that bell icon so you know whenever I put out a video. Finally, make sure you follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Mixer. The name is Screwface Capone, so I try to do a live stream at least once per week. So, that's it. Once again, I want to thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you again soon.